standing on the corner of Wonderland and Wall, waiting for the light to change and wondering where to go. Take the bottles to the grocery, sell the records to the shop, step out on the sidewalk and make some traffic stop. Cause the phone is disconnected and the landlord's at the door. The tow truck's at the curbside, here to repossess the Ford. And there's a house rent party tonight, everybody's shake. Oh, we're gonna blow the roof sky high, and we're gonna catch a break. Cause when they put you on the street, you can sit and watch the dawn, but there's always something you can do when your last gold dollar's gone. He's got his double-breasted jacket, some cherry wingtip shoes, big old hat with a feather high and a pocket flask of booze. But he can't afford the treatments, and there ain't no other cure. Sad to say, without more pay, he won't get well no more. Then the night falls up on Broadway, and the neon starts to shine, and the dancers in the love act getting ready for the grind. And there's a house rent party tonight, everybody's shake. Oh, we're gonna blow the roof sky high, see how much we can take. And I know we're gonna make it, don't care what I have to do. And I know you do the same for me as I would do for you. Alright. Excuse me. Alright. So I bought a lucky ticket and I pinned it to the shelf. Put one away for you, baby, and I kept one for myself. I'm gonna take my winnings, I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna start a brand new band, we'll play anywhere but here. Cause there's nothing coming in, and sugar, nothing's going out. There's nothing left to talk about, if all we do is shout. And there's a house rent party tonight, everybody shake. Wow, we're gonna blow the roof sky high, see how much we can take. Cause when they put you on the street, you can sit and watch the dawn, but there's always something you can do when your last gold dollar's gone. And there's a house rent party tonight, everybody shake. Oh, we're gonna blow the roof sky high, yeah, we're gonna catch a break. And I know we're gonna make it, don't care what I have to do. And I know you do the same for me as I would do for you. And there's a house rent party tonight. House rent party.
Oh yeah. Peter Case, live in the KPFT studio. In town playing tonight at the Mucky Duck with Mr. Steve Poltz. You've been playing with him on and off for a little bit, right?
Yeah, you know, I met Poltz a few years ago up in Nova Scotia. We were playing some gigs together, and so we have a lot of common friends, you know, friends in common, I guess you would say, not common friends. And yeah, we're having a good time.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he'll do a set, and then you'll do a set?
Something like that. Maybe I'll do a set and he'll do a set. We're not quite sure about the order of things, but it blasts off at the right time, and then one of us and then another guy plays, you know, it's that kind of thing.
Okay.
He's good. He's really good.
He is good. He's been here before a few times, and yeah, always entertaining, so it should be a great show tonight. Let's take it back to the beginning of the Nerves. You know, when I look back on it and do some research, it's they call it New Wave, but that wasn't even a term in 1976, was it?
True enough, Roark, it wasn't. That term hadn't shown up at all yet. Punk had just started to become a term, but hardly, you know, and so most of that was used to describe 60s garage bands that were called punk, you know. So what we did was a reaction against the music business, but also a reaction just against the music scene, which it seemed like it was really bogged down and didn't really represent the music of youth, you know. And that's what we were at the time, was youth, but it was like a fresh sound. We were trying to come up with a music of our own, you know, doing our own bit. And, you know, we met quite a bit of resistance, but also made a lot of friends, you know.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were covered by Blondie right around that time as well.
Blondie we cut a record called Hanging on the Telephone with 4 songs on it, including one I wrote called When You Find Out. And we toured with the Ramones and went out and played all over the place in 77, but then 78, the band had just broken up. We'd been together actually for 4 or 5 years, I think, and we broke up in 78. And right at the same time, Blondie covered Hanging on the Telephone and had a worldwide top 10 hit. So the guitar player in the band got rich, and the rest of us never got anything. But you know.
And so you moved to L.A. right at about that time, right?
No, we were already in L.A. We moved down to L.A. The first day of 77, you know. And so we got right down to L.A. and fell in with, you know, played a gig for Kim Fowley and played gigs with Venus and the Razor Blades and you know, and then we pretty much kickstarted the whole punk rock scene down there with the Zeros and the Weirdos and the Dills and all that. All played with us at shows we put on down there, the punk rock invasion shows that were like the first sort of shows of that genre, you know. So at that time in that town.
Very cool. And then the Plimsolls started.
Yeah, about a year later, there was a record by a band called the Breakaways in between me and Paul Collins from the Paul Collins Beat, but he was in the Nerves too, and we made a record called the Breakaways, which you can get on Alive Records right now. It's a pretty cool record of. I didn't even know it existed. It's all demos of stuff we did, but it's a pretty fun record because just the spirit of it. You know, we were. Really just writing these songs that we thought we were going to get on the radio with, you know, but they're pretty rocking, you know, and so there's a record of that, and then the Plimsoll started up a year later.
And a few songs by that band were in the movie Valley Girl.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that band played so many shows. It meant so much to a lot of different people, including people in Texas, too, and, you know, Valley Girl was one moment that, you know, kind of... You know, it's funny how things are perceived because, you know, that was like an afternoon's work, and it was the only time my grandmother got to see the band when she turned on the national, you know, Pearl case, you know, turned on the TV and saw me there on TV in Valley Girl. But to tell you the truth, it wasn't a big moment for the band as much as, like, you know, we've toured with Elvis Costello and Tom Petty and played shows with, you know, all kinds of people, and it was a real exciting time.
Was it nerve-wracking to go solo? I mean, you're kind of taking a chance for the first
do what?
time. To go solo when you went solo in the early days?
It was, you know, but I'd been solo before, you know, so I'd come from... You know, for me, it's very natural to play electric and acoustic. And, like, the press, you know, is always going crazy. Like, is he electric? Is he acoustic? Who cares, man? It's like, you'd ask that to Neil Young or Bob Dylan. Or I did ask it to Bob Dylan, actually. But, you know... to me, it was always part of the whole picture of music. Is you know, the Beatles played electric and they played acoustic. So did the Stones, you know.
Sure.
So you know, so did Elvis. So I mean, what's the big deal, you know? But apparently, it was a big deal. But to me, it wasn't. To me, Friday night you played with your little. You know, I grew up with this guy Gurf Morlix, you know, and me and Gurf were from the same town, and we played the same kind of scenes. He always had a happening band. He was a few years older than me, but I had a band too, and we'd play like the Fire Hall. You know, the VFW Post, you know, the Fire Hall, and then you'd play, you know, on Friday nights there'd be these dances, you know. And then on Saturday night, maybe you'd go play the church basement, you know, St. Peter St. Paul, you know, the Catholic Church would have a coffee house, or the Unitarians especially would have coffee houses, and you go down and play in the church basements playing folk music and acoustic music. So I always did both. And the only time I didn't do both was during the peak of the Plimsolls, because I didn't own an acoustic guitar at that point. And kind of we were just completely electric at that for a moment there. But even during the Nerves, I was still playing acoustic, and all during my street period. And now I still play electric. So, you know, it's a false distinction. The press is always trying to make up those kind of things. But really, the line that goes through my music from the beginning to the end is songs, you know, songwriting, you know. And songs, which means no extra words and no, you know, and trying to, like, you know, cut right to the heart, you know, come from someplace that is emotional or moving or intense, you know, and worth hearing again.
So you put in an album that was just basically you and a guitar not too long ago. Was that kind of like your answer to the media?
Well, no, it wasn't. You know, I don't really, you know, it's not like I have like a big media. I mean, it was kind of my answer to just wanting to have a record of me playing solo. And I just love those kind of records. You know, I love Robert Wilkins and I love Butch Hancock solo things that we've all heard. And I love, a lot of my favorite records are solo records. Going back to Robert Johnson and up to Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie and everybody. So I just wanted to make a record like that of my material, and so that's called "Let Us Now Praise Sleepy John," and I'm real proud of that record. It's one of my favorites what I've done.
Now, your first solo CD was nominated for a Grammy. That's pretty good for your first solo CD. And you had some pretty big cats playing on that. John Hyatt was on that album?
Yeah, I did have John Hyatt playing on that.
And Gurf Morlick's.
That was before John Hyatt was very famous on that record. And Gurf's on there, and that was before he was well known. We did have Roger McGuinn and Van Dyke Parks. And
your ex-wife was there, too.
She was?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I think so.
If I would have known that, I might have frozen up. No, she was great, too. And, so everybody was on there. I don't think she was my ex-wife at that point. It was the secret to that whole thing.
Right.
But, sorry, everybody. But yeah, that was and we got nominated for a Grammy on the song Old Blue Car. That's right. I've been nominated for Grammys 3 times.
That's great.
Yeah.
Your time is coming.
Thank you.
Peter Case live in the KPFT studio, playing tonight over at the Mucky Duck with Steve Poltz. What are you going to sing for us next?
Well, I thought since we were talking about the Nerves, I'll sing a song I wrote for the Nerves, which I don't do very often, but what the heck.
What the heck?
This is the last time. Let me try to sing it correctly, though. I don't do this song very often, so. This is the last time I'm gonna cry. I still want you, but I say goodbye. You say you're waiting for just the right one. You'll try to find me when he let you down, and you find out I was the one when you find out. I tried to explain, but you don't see. No one can give you more love than me. You say you're waiting for just the right one. You'll try to find me when he let you down, and you find out I was the one when you find out I was the one. I'll be gone when you find out. It's gonna be pretty hard on you. Oh, when you find out, I hope there's still something you can do. This is the last time I'm gonna try. I still want you, but I say goodbye. You say you're waiting for just the right one. You'll try to find me when he let you down, and you find out I was the one when you find out I was the one when you find out. Oh, when you find out. Oh, when you find out. Oh, when you find out. Little TV fade there, folks.
That was great.